Hello everybody, it is Root Beer. I am doing a solo video today because, like I said before, this is basically my YouTube channel until somebody else decides to upload something to it. So with clan selection kind of over and done with, we're now fully into overdress reveals. Like, we've gotten all the TD bosses, so we kind of have a preview of what their direction is going to be, but we don't really have the full picture yet. So while we're in this kind of transition period, I figured now would be a good time to do a bit of analysis on the game. And today specifically, I want to discuss the transition from clans to nations. So when Overdress was announced as a reboot, I think the big news that came with that was that we were going to transition into nations instead of clans, and we here at Nexus at Night, we were all pretty excited about that. We thought it was a good direction for the game and would help fix a long-standing issue that we saw. But, a lot of people also didn't like the idea. They kind of lamented the loss of their old clans, and they're worried about losing the old clan identities, and that definitely sucks. I know how it feels. It happened with V Bermuda. It happened all throughout V, honestly, but when we look back at older eras of the game, I feel like clans have always had the core issue that there's just too many of them, and that just brought all sorts of problems. Recently, Chris asked a question to our group chat about the difference between Aquaforce and Nova Grappler, and, as I was puzzling through the answers to this, I realized, while there are some noticeable differences, there are also a lot of similarities, especially towards the end of G era, where things got really homogenized, and it also just made me think about all the other clans in the game, and I realized how many of them overlapped. So, we have clans that share mechanics, like Murakumo and Neo Nectar, or Tachikaze and Shadow Paladin. We have all the derivative clans, all three of the Paladins, Kagero and Narukami, OTT and Genesis, and because there are too many clans, some of these clans just got more or better support than the others, and it felt really bad when you're on the lesser end of that scale. And I think Bushiroad did become aware of this during the V reboot, because they did seem to put in some effort to try and distinguish the clans more. They started to kind of shake up some of their playstyles, especially for the more comparable clans. So Tachikaze got equip gauges, Neo Nectar got plant tokens, and Genesis got a whole mess of different mechanics, which, that's its own problem, where because Bushiroad is so inconsistent about support, if you're suddenly changing playstyles from set to set, which happened quite often in V, that doesn't feel very good either, because it's like, oh, my first set of support in 6 months is here, and we're doing something completely different, so a bunch of my old cards are irrelevant now, and I still don't have a complete coherent deck. And that highlights another major issue with the way the game has been for a long time now, where because of the inconsistent support, some clans would just get locked out of new mechanics. So Legion era is kind of the biggest offender for this, because that format ended before a lot of clans could even get their legions, so all of that got relegated to promo support that was really hard to find. And beyond that, when the V reboot hit, Bushiroad had announced that all clans were going to be supported once a year at least. And we were like, yeah, finally, every clan is going to get equal support, and of course, that didn't happen. Bushiroad did things their usual way, where they introduced only 3 or 4 clans a set, and inevitably, Royal Paladin and Kagero got their own special extra booster before some of the clans were even reintroduced to V, and that sucks, because getting bad support is one thing. You can still play with that bad support and try to make your own fun, but when your clan just isn't part of this format, they just haven't given you your support, then you just kind of have to sit in the corner and watch everyone else play until Bushiroad decides to grace you with their attention. And that brings us back to Overdress and Nation cards. With the announcement of clans being consolidated to nations, Bushiroad has also said that they're going to be supporting every nation equally in every set. And compared to when they announced the same thing in V, I think this is a lot more believable because it's just the 5 nations compared to 24 clans, which, in hindsight, the way Bushiroad did things, only supporting 3 or 4 clans at a time, it was still going to take like 6 months minimum for every clan to get through one wave of support if all of them were being supported equally, and that's a very long time to wait, no matter what clan you are. And so, with nations, it's just the 5. It's much more realistic that they can just cram all 5 nations into one set, and they're already putting their money where their mouth is because every nation is getting its own TD on release. And as far as nation identities are concerned, Mori had made a comment on Twitter after all the new TD bosses were revealed that, the bosses were designed with the intention that they would be mainstays of your deck for a long time, so I think this means that they want them to be a foundation for the future support to be built off of, not just a one-off where you buy the TD and then immediately replace them with the first new set. I think this is a good philosophy for the team to be working with. It'll help kind of curb the power creep a bit and keep a focused direction for all the nations to take. And I know people are already a little upset that the TD cards are pretty different from the clans they derive from, but it's not all that bad. I think I can already see room for them to reintroduce some of the more unique clan identities into the game. So like with Overdress and Dragon Empire, I can already see like Murakumo and Tachikaze where, you have cards that clone or become Trickstar, or maybe you get an Overdress card that retires its original dress to gain a skill. And in Keter Sanctuary, we could have OTT type cards to stack grade 3s, or Angel Feather cards to pull them out of damage. There's just a lot of extra space now where they can do a lot of cool and interesting combinations, and I think the game will be more fun overall. And logistically, by supporting every nation in every set, there's more room for them to kind of experiment with new ideas, because instead of being like, here's a new playstyle, see you again in 6 months, it's like, here's a new playstyle, and they can kind of take in feedback and make adjustments for the next set right away. There's just a lot of potential here for interesting new card designs, and I hope the new team can take advantage of it. Hey, thanks for watching everybody. If you liked the video, please leave a like, leave a comment if you want to see more solo videos like this from me or anyone else in the Nexus at Night team. If you want to visit us on social media, the links will be in the description. We also have a Patreon link in the description. Thank you to our $10 patrons, Darren and Cole, and I will see you all next time.